Hey, good morning. It's Jeff Arnold with 4Spot Consulting for another 5 Minute Friday, March 6, 2026. Lots of great information again coming through this week in the HR space related to AI and automation. Wanted to cover some of the highlights that I saw and give my thoughts on some of these items. So, the first thing that came up is an article about CEOs right now. I believe it was coming from LinkedIn. It was talking about 74%, right? We're talking about a huge percentage of CEOs are feeling that their roles are at risk if they are not adopting AI in some way, shape, or form. And the issue I have with that statistic is yes, I believe it's very true that everybody believes that they need to deploy AI in some way, shape, or form. But the thing that is interesting about that is that people are just throwing AI at their operations without any type of a plan. And I've been saying this week after week, but you read about it as well. Everything we're reading coming from all of these entities are talking about the fact that it's not just throw AI at the problem, it's about redesigning work. And that's actually the one email that came through that I'm going to come through and talk about here is that you need to redesign the way that you are working in your company today. You can't keep doing the exact same thing and just give people access to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and say, here, have at it. You need to have a process in place, and you need to actually redesign the way that your work is going through right now. And so this article came up talking about the superpower org and how HR must redesign the work. Like this was the article, right? You need to redesign what you're doing. It's not a matter of just, throw new tires on the car and hope that it goes, 50 times faster. It's about rebuilding the entire engine that you have in order to make things work better. Some of the statistics that came out of this particular scenario in the article that they were talking about here is that right now they said that 60 to 70% of the learning and development processes that HR are working on are able to be automated. 100% true. I do this all the time. I create new content, I create training materials, and I use AI to streamline and speed up what I'm doing. I just got done finishing a complete training course for automation and AI in the HR space, and it was heavily influenced by using AI. So I gathered all of the information that I needed, but then I used AI to put it all together for me. So I didn't have to go through the tedious process of typing up the documents or arranging the questionnaires and things like that. Using AI to go through and create that stuff really streamlines what you're doing. The other stat I found really interesting here is that they said that 4 out of 5 agent applications or projects that are happening right now, I should say, are able to be done agentically. What that means is inside of the HR space, they were able to identify things that HR team members do and what of those items could be handled by an agent. Now, again, an agent is an AI prompt basically that sits on top of a number of different actions, and so it takes the action and uses I'll use the word thought in air quotes, but uses a thought process to determine things. So for example, it could go through and determine that one agent might simply be responsible for evaluating a resume based on a particular job. So it's a task, right? It's one of the tasks that you do. And so that agent takes over that task. So now it's not a human doing the task, it's an agent doing the task using some intelligence that normally a human could use to do that. And so actually in my keynote, I talk about, AI is coming for your tasks, not your job, right? So it's coming to just take the tasks off of your desk so you can end up being more effective in what you do. And so everything I saw this week coming through, it was very interesting to see that, the article that came up about, having to rebuild your workflows. Like that's what we do for clients. That's what we do for our HR clients is we help them, we sit down with them, we do our ops map program. That's our audit where we really go through and dig through everything that they're doing. We identify all of the areas where you can get into and identify what you need to work on automating, what you don't need to automate, which sometimes is even more important. and then be able to give you a roadmap for what you need to do to move forward. Then we actually work with our clients to deploy that, right? We get together for 6 or 12 months, we engage, we start going through step by step, making sure that we're not just throwing AI at something, we're building a true systemic automated platform that's going to move people through operations, connect all of your siloed data that you have, connect it all together, and be sure that you have a good solid platform to build upon. And then we have our ops care program, which is just simply working with them long term, just to take care of any tweaks and things along those lines. But that is the crux of what we do, is we help you analyze what's going on in your company and then move forward and deploy it in a positive, useful manner to make sure you get some quick wins, right? We have an ops sprint program where we make sure that you get some very quick wins within the company, because as your staff gets to see, the number one thing that we hear as well is people are concerned they're going to lose their job. And people are so overwhelmed already that what happens is, I don't think that jobs are going to be going away. I think that the people that are there are just going to be able to be more efficient at what they do and more effective. Now they get to spend more time on the stuff that's important, more of the people work as opposed to the paperwork, and they become more efficient with what they're doing. And so the entire department, without losing staff and without having to hire new staff, the entire organization, the teamwork that you have, they become more efficient in what's going on. So automation is here to not to replace you, but to elevate you, is what I always say as well. So anyway, so that's what I'm seeing. Everything is talking about building structure. You need to go in, you need to build structure. You need to understand what's going on, what can be automated, what can't be automated, what should be automated, what should not be automated. And you need to build that platform and essentially rework what you're doing today. And so I have a one pager, right? I had the book last year. I came out with a workbook here in January. It's a 74-page workbook, takes you through the entire year, sitting down and mapping everything out. But I also came up with this quick ops map, quick audit for you. So I'll put a link in the bottom where you can go and get that. But it's basically just a one pager. You can sit down, identify some things that you want to work on, and it has a very quick math formula there to figure out what kind of savings you would see on an annual basis. Again, 10 minutes of savings results in 1 week per year in savings. So small changes here and there can make a huge difference. But if you're looking to really embrace AI and work to deploy that across your enterprise, then what you're going to want to do is you're really going to want to make sure that it's mapped out, and that's what we can help you do. So if you're interested in chatting about that, please use the link in my comments below and book a time to chat. I would love to have a conversation. Hope you have a great weekend.